So, animals in video games. These are things that are in games that. How are they represented? Well, there are lots of different ways that they're represented, so I decided to choose three different games that represent animals in three different ways that all which could be seen as good or bad. I will first start off with the game Terraria. Terraria's animals most of the time are just peaceful animals. They're oftentimes called critters. They don't attack you, and such as the bunnies. And in the other picture, you can see a bunch of birds, squirrels, bunnies, and all that. And they're just there. There's no use to go after them. There's no reason to go after them except for maybe the special golden variants, which are very rarely spawn and are more of a they just happen to be there. If I were to put this close to something in class, it would be Grizzly Man and My Octopus Teacher. You're just there. The animals are there. You're not doing it. You're not purposely going after them, or you may, but they're represented more of a building of the world and trying to bring everything together, make it so that everything seems like the world isn't stagnant or still. Because you need an environment in a game where oftentimes where you aren't doing anything or you're doing small things, and it's nice to bring in an environment such as bringing animals. Next, I'll do Pokemon. Closest thing I can find is dogfights. Dogfights, at least in America, I know, are illegal. Dogfights are closest thing because you are literally facing two animals against each other, with the idea of gaining a big battle. But it's as though the animals have become something bigger, and it's now this big giant tournament based thing for animals fighting each other. And if you were to put that to real life, nobody would agree with it. You wouldn't be having people do it. You wouldn't be having anybody say that it is a good thing. In fact, 99% of people would probably be against it and say, hey, why are we having these animals fight each other? Which, in the game, they pass out, but the reality is they would be killed, oftentimes, because not many things can survive a lightning strike from Pikachu. But Pokemon weren't just used for fights. Some of them have uses such as going after or helping out crops, moving stuff on the field, and farm work and other just general stuff, or they're even sometimes just kept as pets, just as a company, which we have in real life. Now, there are lots of things in it, like the animals do seem to enjoy fighting each other, but that is not exactly something that would be representative of real life. Because the animals will sometimes even say will endure a little bit longer because of them liking you, their trainer. Next, Minecraft. I chose Minecraft because this one is the closest to the real world, where people will farm animals and pretty much basically abuse them. I mean, in this image you can see that I took, there's probably about 100 cows in there, all stuck in that area, unable to move. And it's a very, very small area, and it would probably be what, if Minecraft was real life, animals would be treated like inside of certain areas. Now, this is not a good representation of animals at all. Yes, normally when people play the game, they bring environment, you get your first little bit of food, but it's kind of later on that animals are a tool and something to be forgotten about and just left. And it's just example of industrialization. We've had multiple texts to go over this, how there are people who are widely against it, and it can be pretty bad. And here is an example of a farm that I built that is having a bunch of hogs falling to their death and burning inside of lava just for the production of food, and that is overproduced. This is not a good example of real life, but people realize this was over the top and not something you would have in real life. This is way over the top. This is something that you would never see in real life because you would have a lot more people going against it. Because as you can see, these aren't just adults, these are also the kids. These are all these animals spawning and going straight to their death. There is no ethics here. Yes, you can feed a large amount of people with this here very fast, but most of the time you will never need something like this. But there are definitely ways that if you present this in real life, people would do this. And you wouldn't know because people in real life do this. Or it's just so profitable and it brings everything up. Now, sources. Here's my sources. These are for the images I use, and yeah. Thank you.